G'day folks and welcome to another episode of Encounters Down Under. Richard joins the show to tell us about some amazing experiences he's had, including one with his family as a child and several others over the coming years. So please welcome to the show, Richard. Got some really awesome experiences there, so let's get Richard on the show. G'day Richard there, you there mate?
Oh, I certainly am. Yeah, g'day, Anthony. How are you?
Good mate, yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Yeah.
That's awesome, mate. Yeah, sorry about the technical glitches there earlier, mate. But we finally got there. I swear the aliens or whatever's going above there, mate, don't want to hear these stories. They don't want these stories released, so whatever's going on, it's definitely going against us. But yeah,
Got there in the
we did get there in the end. But mate, thanks for joining the show. So we'll get into it, mate. So you've had some pretty awesome experiences there, mate. Do you want to go and tell us about them?
Yes, so I've had a few experiences in my lifetime, and yeah, look, I think the first one, well, the main one was when I was about 11-year-old. We'd just come to Australia from England. We were staying at the Wakehall Migrant Hostel. I think it was about 1969, and yeah, it was just going on about 11 years old, I think, at that stage. And anyway, it was me, my younger brother, my mum and dad, and there wasn't much to do at the hostel, so we pestered my mum, I think, to this one particular day, we pestered her to take us to the local park there at the Wakehall Hostel. It was sort of, it bordered on the actual Wakehall Army base, which was there at the time. And anyway, we pestered her that much. She said, look, she'll take us for about 15 minutes because it was starting to get dark. And anyway, we went over there and played on the swings. And anyway, Mum said, it was time to go. And we were just leaving the park. And as we were just walking off, I noticed my mum looking up, and she said, oh, look at that. And I looked up, and I saw there were like three bright stars in the sky. And anyway, they were moving in formation, like a triangle-shaped formation. And then they just abruptly stopped. And then one of them, the lead one, sort of came down in a zigzag pattern. It came down, across, down, and it was there. It was probably 50 meters off the ground. And it was probably about 30-meter diameter. It was gunmetal grey underneath, but it seemed to really, if you didn't sort of see it when it came down, you wouldn't know it was there. It seemed to absorb the darkness, so to speak. But anyway, it was sitting there. There was no noise, and I did notice back then. I think it was in the summer months, I believe, and all the insects they all just stopped. The cicadas, the crickets, they just went quiet. And anyway, me, my mum, my dad, my younger brother were just in awe looking at this object hovering off the ground. And then all of a sudden, it was like a blue flash came up underneath it. And it was like a blue beam that came down from the craft. And I could see where the beam stopped and started in the air. And it slowly came down to the ground. Diameter-wise, you could have probably fitted an average family car under inside the beam. That's how wide this beam came down. And anyway, it slowly came down and it hit the ground, and it must have been there for a few minutes. I called it like a laser blue color at that time, and the most beautiful blue. But the funny thing was, we weren't scared. We were just in awe of this object. And then after a few minutes, the blue beam slowly rose back up again, and this object, this craft, it went back up exactly the same pattern it came down, the zigzag pattern, joined the other two crafts, and the whole three just shot out into space, and they were gone within a matter of seconds. Yeah, that was one thing that a close encounter.
That would have been incredible.
Oh, it was awesome, and oh, look, it changed my whole way of, thinking, feeling. Just, I knew then that we weren't alone, and I knew it was nothing from this planet. We just didn't have that technology back then, and yeah, it was. We still don't. And I mean, this thing had travelled from, as I said, when it first came down. It looked like there would have been at least 50 to 100 k's up in the in space, and this was down 50 meters off the ground within, I'd say it took all of about 2 seconds
Oh,
to
wow.
reach. Yeah, it was just awesome. It was unbelievable. But there was another one that I saw pretty recently. It was about 18 months ago. Um, I'm out of Red Bank Plains now, and bought a house out there, and I've got a friend that lives probably 5 minutes down the road. His name is James, and he was living with his mum. And this one particular night, it was about 8 p.m. I drove down there, all into his yard, and just as I pulled in, I saw this red object floating across the tops of the rooftops. Anyway, I got out the car and I had a closer, got to see it a bit closer, and it probably doing about 2 or 3 kilometers an hour, just gliding. It was like it was on ice. It was just gliding. It didn't deviate up, down, sideways. It was just fixed. It was, yeah. And anyway, that particular time, I'm banging on my friend's back door, and I said, James, quick, get out here. And he could hear it in my voice. I was a bit, you know, hyped up, I think. And he said, who is it? I said, it's Richard, And anyway, he came out, him and his mum came out, and we stood at the fence, the back of the house, the fence line there. And this thing was probably only meters. I'm talking probably about 5, 6 meters away from us. And it was about the size of 1.5 cars. It was a triangle shape, and it was red. It was like a deep blood red. But every 2 seconds, it was like a pulse. It'd pulsate, and it'd increase in intensity, the color of the red really brightly. And then 2 seconds, it'd die back down. It was doing that all the time as it was gliding past. And and it had no noise, nothing, no propulsion, sound of propulsion or anything like that. It was an actual triangle shape, and then it was slowly. I got the feeling it was looking for something or someone, or it was the way it was gliding over the rooftops, and anyway, it sort of went past us, and then all of a sudden it just blinked out. It just disappeared. Um, and yeah, that was another sighting. I've seen a few other things. I saw a craft over at Augustine Highway. It was probably a few months ago actually. This one, it was during a storm, and I had my phone out the window trying to photograph it, but I think I got my phone more soaked than the screen was covered in water, or the camera, I should say. But, yes, but it was this thing was probably a lot bigger. It would have been probably at least a good 50 to 60 meters across, and there was numerous lights around it. There was red, white lights that were around there. So this was a round saucer shape craft. It was pretty low. It was actually under the clouds, and that's why I noticed it. But I couldn't pull over. It was on the main Centenary Highway of Augustine Heights and Augusta, and yeah, I was trying to find somewhere I could pull over and photograph it. By the time I'd found somewhere, this had already gone past some trees and I couldn't see him any longer. But another time I was with my son again in Red Bank Plains. I was probably going back a few years ago now. We're travelling in the car and coming back from the local shops along Hedges Road, and I saw this red orb. I mean, this thing was screaming across the night sky. And then all of a sudden, just boom, it just come to an abrupt halt, and just did an automatic about face and flew back off the same way that it had travelled. I'm talking, it would have been doing, over 1,000, 1,500 k's an hour. It was just absolutely. I've never seen anything move so quick in my life, and then just come to a dead stop, and then do the opposite direction in an instant. Within a split second, and the amount of G forces that would have been, it would have exerted. I mean, and most of these crafts that I've seen, well, apart from the triangle one that I saw, they're certainly not from this planet. Nobody can withstand those sort of G forces. Although the crafts just they can't travel that fast. Not man-made anyway at this point in time. So, but yeah, my son, my actually oldest son, he's seen several crafts himself. He was with his wife the other few weeks ago again at Collingwood Park. I think quite a few people had seen it apparently that night too, and it was an object he couldn't make out the shape of it. He saw the lights on it, and then this thing just shot straight up. And he had his young baby in the car, and his wife. They saw it as well, and then he said probably minutes later there was these jets flying over, screaming across the sky where this object had been, and no, we're certainly not alone. I know that for a fact. I've known that since I was, as I said, 11 years old. And the funny thing was that time at Wakehall Hostel, when this craft had left, we got home, and I do remember my mum's saying she didn't realise how late it was. Now, as I said, we were in that park around about 6 o'clock. It would have been probably just after 6:15. Well, it should have been around 15, half past at the latest when we should have got home. It was only probably a 5-10 minute walk from there to our house, in the hostel there. And I do remember Mum saying, it was 9:30. So I don't know what happened that night, but it was really strange. But my Mum says she can't remember the missing time, but I do recall her saying that.
No, mate, that's incredible, mate. You got to be one of the luckiest guys I've heard so far, having all these experiences from the age of 11 onwards, and I think a lot of people would be quite jealous, to be honest.
Yes, no, we're definitely not alone. I can honestly say that without a shadow of a doubt. And again, as I said, the one at Wakehall, they were near a military installation there. As I said, it was Wakehall Army Base, or Army Barracks there at that time.
Yep.
And so they seem to be, very interested in our nuclear capabilities and Army, facilities, Air Force, air bases, that sort of thing. And
it always seems to be the hotspots around our military. So
yes,
they always seem to be keeping an eye on it.
Yep.
So with that one sorry, mate, you go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I just got a post before. They've just taken a photo. This was today. The La Palma volcano, is it? La Palma, is it? The island that's got the volcanic eruptions at the moment.
Oh, I'm not sure, mate. I have been a bit lucky on the news lately.
Yeah, a lot of houses have been lost, and I think it's over somewhere near Madagascar, somewhere around that. Anyway, but it's been on the news anyway. It's one of the biggest volcanic eruptions of late.
Yep.
And it's threatening all these towns there. And but anyway, they've just snapped a photo of a UFO going through the eruption as it's going up. And that was today, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to go and check it out at some point.
Yeah.
See if we can decipher it a little bit and see what's going on. But with your experience there in Wakehall there, do you have any ideas of what the craft might have been looking for with the beam going down?
Well, I looked. My mum seems to think that it took something up, and I couldn't see it. I can't remember seeing anything going back up into the beam. I don't know, but as I said, I remember the beam coming down, but I really don't think couldn't see anything going back up into the beam. But my mum seemed to think that there might have been, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So how long do you think the whole experience sort of went for? Like, obviously, you got some sort of missing time there, but
all up probably 5 minutes. Yeah,
that's a decent amount of time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you see something like that, it's just you. But the funny thing was, I don't know. I just know that we had no fear whatsoever of it. We just didn't, have any. Because I mean, usually what people don't understand or they tend to fear, and but no, there was nothing like that. We just weren't scared about it. We were just in awe of watching this craft that we knew was not from this world, and it was certainly an experience I'll never ever forget until the day I die. And
yeah, absolutely, that's incredible. So with the craft, like you're saying that was a triangular craft as well, with the Wakehall one.
Yes, that was a recent one. About 18 months ago, I saw that, and yep.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So any sort of distinguishable features on it? Like usually with triangle craft, people can refer to like the TR3B.
No, nothing like that. There was no markings on it, and we were pretty close to it. and there was no noise, no humming, no propulsion. I mean, this thing was traveling at 2 or 3 kilometers an hour.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
you think
I
a lot of
don't know
people
what
have seen it.
TRs. That I'm sure they can't go that slow. They drop out of the sky.
No, apparently they can. They hover along pretty well. It's pretty.
Really?
It,
Okay. Yeah,
um,
yeah.
the
I didn't
TR.
know they could go at low speeds like that, but yes, yeah. But no, this anyway. This I'm sure they just can't disappear, as in a blink of an eye. You know, they can dematerialize and vanish. I'm sure they don't have that capability at the
No, I'm
moment.
not sure on that one. They think well, people claim that the TR-3B is supposed to be the human version of the alien technology. So it's one of our
Okay.
little creations. So depending on what we've got on that, I suppose people have claimed that they can see like a shape distorting through the sky, like you know how like if they got they're
So
translucent, but you're getting like a bit of a warp through it.
hazy sort of a miragey sort of a looking.
Yeah. So unless there's something like because like, it would have been nighttime when you saw this.
It was about 8 p.m. Yep.
Yep. So it would have been dark. You might have.
Uh,
They could
there
have
was
done
no,
the
no
cloaking ability, maybe.
well, the way it sort of just splashed out, and again, it was like it was a pulse that was like not, I wouldn't say biological, but that's sort of the impression I got. It was like it was a heart, not a heartbeat, but it was just pulsating. Every 2 seconds it'd pulsate and just the whole thing though would just light up really brightly, and then 2 seconds it'd die down. It did that all the time. And we were watching this for about a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. We were watching this craft, and we were so close to it. I'm talking meters away from it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
but
awesome. So no
mm,
noises or anything like that at all.
not a thing. No.
Wow.
In fact, my friend and his mum were getting a bit scared. I believe they were trying to put things to it, and his mum said, "Is it a plane?" I said, "Well, there's no wings, and planes don't can't go at 2 or 3 kilometers an hour."
No, that would definitely fall out of the
And
sky.
James, my mate, he goes, "Oh, is it a drone?" I said, "Well, there's no noise, there's no propellers, there's no visual signs of propulsion, nothing." And I think they were getting a bit anxious because they didn't know what it was, and they were trying to uh, make themselves feel a little bit less intimidated, I guess, by trying to put something to it. But
Yeah.
and at the end, no, he said. Um, he called it a diamond, but I called it a triangle. And yeah, but no, it definitely was something very, very, very unusual that I still haven't seen anything to even match this thing as well. What it could do. But it was, as I said, it was like the whole thing just pulsated and generated this bright red glow, and then it'd go probably 50% down, die down, and then 50% up again, and it was like a sort of a heartbeat sort of thing. It was weird.
Yeah. So was the glow like sort of like lighting up the area as well, or was it just a glow in its own general sort of space?
It was just glowing from the whole thing just lit up. It
But it
wasn't
wasn't
from
lighting up the
one.
ground or anything.
Was no, it wasn't from one thing. The whole thing actually lit up like it was just one light. It was just like one. Yeah, no, it was a bit hard to sort of just interpret. To make yeah, just a bit hard to sort of describe how what I saw. It was, and that's the only way I can describe it, as like a heartbeat.
Yeah, no, that's fair
It
enough.
was just pulsated every 2 seconds. It would have been about 2 seconds. You'd have a bright and then a low, deep red, but it was like a blood red color, and then a real bright red. And
That's very interesting. Was there
yeah,
anything in the in reports in the local Facebook, like the buy sells or something?
not,
Any reports at all?
not of that one, but a couple of weeks after I saw the one at Augustine Heights on the highway when it was raining and there was a storm, there were reports on that one. Somebody else must have seen it and put reports in, and because I did see that on one of the sites, and yeah, a UFO site it was, and yeah, so
What year
I
was that one?
wasn't. That was only ah, probably about 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
Okay,
And
so what's
again,
that? It's what
that was
July? I think
sorry,
it is.
Yeah, it would have been around July. Yeah, yeah. It was. I had an app. It was a World UFO Sightings or something, and I thought, I've got on there, and this is probably a couple of weeks after it happened, and sure enough, it was about to that day that I saw it that somebody else had seen it and put a report in, and so I wasn't seeing things.
No, that's excellent. What time roughly do you know? Can you remember?
uh, it would have been round about ooh, close to 9 o'clock maybe, between 8 and 9, I would say roughly.
Yep, PM.
Yeah, PM. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Cool. Hopefully, someone is listening. They'll go and get a bit of a
Yeah.
mind blown moment and going, "Oh, I remember seeing something like that," and might be able to get some
Yeah.
feedback from it. That'd be
Yes.
awesome. Any particular shape to that craft at all?
Sorry,
Any
the one that
pat-
I saw at Augustine Heights.
Yeah. What was the shape of that one?
It was round. It was a disc. But it was a lot bigger. As I said, it was around about 70-meter diameter,
That's a big
and
craft.
yeah, yeah, it was huge. And yeah, and as I said, I noticed it more so because it was under the cloud. There was, as I said, it was raining pretty heavy, and I've got my hand out the window trying to film this one. The ironic thing was, though, I had a phone in my back pocket when I saw the triangle down here at Red Bank Plains, and it was like we were just like frozen. I mean, it could have just been that we were just in awe of seeing this thing in front of us, but yeah, I had my phone in my back pocket and I didn't take a
Oh,
photo of it.
bugger. Yeah, you just don't think of it at the time, eh? You're just too
You really don't. It
glued
was,
to it.
yep, yep. Oh yeah.
That's incredible. So,
Mm.
so your mum doesn't remember anything between that from your first experience when you're 11 years old. Nothing at all between the time in the park and going home, and for it to being so late.
No, no. Well, I did talk to her about it, and she doesn't have any memory of actually the missing time, but I do recall it because I remember she made a comment of saying how late it was, but that she didn't sort of jerry that those hours had gone missing, and yeah.
I suppose back in those times too, like you wouldn't have really spoken much about it. But do you remember any
No.
conversations with your mum
Well,
by speaking with
I
someone else who might have seen it?
I think more about it now. As I got older, I thought more about it because when you're 11 years old, it doesn't sort of it didn't to me anyway. It didn't sort of make any sense, and but as I got older and I've sort of researched a lot more about it, and yeah, but my mum's seen other things too. She's seen orbs in her room,
Oh,
multicolored orbs. She was reading a book one night, she said, and uh, she just happened to glance over the top of the book, and there was this ball floating at the end of her bed,
oh,
and it was probably the size of a basketball. And she said there was all the different colours swirling in and around it, and she felt like it was watching her, it was looking at her, and then it dropped back down, and she wouldn't get out of the bed for about an hour. She said she thought it was
yeah.
sitting up in bed. So,
Yeah, I don't think
yeah,
anyone would either. They'll be pretty spooked.
oh, yeah, and I don't know if this is any relation to this sort of phenomenon, but when she was a young girl, I remember my nana telling me, and she's passed now, as my nana, but
Yep.
she was a lovely woman, and but anyway, my mum got very sick. She was about 15 or 16, I believe, and they didn't think she was going to make it. She got pneumonia, and they actually, I'm sure she said they got the priest in or something, and yeah, she wasn't good at all. And anyway, my nana was kneeling beside her this particular night, and then she said all of a sudden she just lit up. She actually started to glow. It was like a she was covered in this bright luminous light that was coming from her, and and then it was only probably not long afterwards the fever broke, and she came good, and well, I'm here as proof. So
Wow, that's
yeah.
incredible.
Hmm. So
I'm a
no,
bit skeptical on that sort of side of things when it comes to sort of priests and prayers and whatnots and that. But
yes, yeah,
that's my
no, well,
opinion. But
yep, no. This was yeah. At the time, I think my nana was the only one that was there. The priest had already gone, and or was on the way, one of the two. But yeah, yeah, I remember telling me that, and my nana told me as well, and before she passed, and she said she just lit up. She couldn't believe it. It the words were, she lit up like a Christmas tree, she said, and yeah, so I don't know.
That would have been incredible. Honestly, look, like you get stories that come through the family like that. They usually are pretty genuine too, and that's where the most credible sort of
Yes.
information
Uh,
comes from,
My,
I suppose.
my
From
nana, if you knew my nana, she never, told a lie in her life, and she had no reason to make that up. And my mum told me the same thing. She told me that she got very, very ill this particular time, and my nana told her that when she was there in bed, she just lit up like just started glowing and like a big, yeah, aura of light all the way around her, and that it actually lit up the corner of the room. It was that bright. Um,
that's
mm,
incredible.
mm.
Yeah, I think it might be a bit more of a paranormal or something going on there, but yeah, it's certainly
Well,
interesting.
yeah,
And
yeah,
would have been
yeah.
you wouldn't know what to do in that situation, would you?
No, no, definitely not. No.
You sit there wondering what the hell's going on. Yeah.
Mm.
So what are
Some
your
strange,
yeah?
strange things.
Oh, definitely. So what are your opinions on the whole the aliens or and such like aliens? You think from outer space, like different
Look,
galaxies, or
I believe that there are a number of different species of aliens. I mean, let's face it, there couldn't just be one or two. I mean, the Earth's the youngest planet in the solar system by, we're talking billions of years. I mean, look how far we've come in 100 years from what the horse and cart to, we've got jet fighters, lasers, and that's in 100 years. I mean, so you've got to imagine if life started on one of these other planets that were billions of years older than our planet. I mean, the Earth's just the baby apparently, and imagine the technology they have. Well, I've seen some of the technology they have there. But as I said, there are other crafts. You're talking about. They're talking about like, excuse me, like a plasma type craft. They look like they're balls of plasma, and but honestly, I think they just frighten us too much. I think if they just made themselves known too quickly, I think what they're doing there. I don't know. You'd probably realise too that there's just more and more sightings now, all over the world, more regular, more frequent, um, and I think they're just slowly introducing themselves to let us know that we're not alone. And there's a bit of a uh, you know, instead of just sort of wham bam and landing in middle of the city or something and freak everybody out. I think this is a way of sort of letting people know that we're not alone, and eventually I think they will make contact. And well, publicly. Um,
absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely one thing they need to do. So, well, I will hope they will just come in and land and just go, hey, here we are. But obviously, not going to be the case.
I
That's
mean,
wishful thinking.
it's got a lot of implications. I mean, you've got your religious side of it, the implications of it, and you've got people. I mean, look what happened in the 1930s with Orson Welles, The War of the Worlds,
Yeah,
and a lot of people just couldn't handle it. Again, what I said earlier, what people don't understand, they fear.
absolutely.
And I wouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people, and that was an example back in the 1930s, I believe. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's about
so
then, about the year 1920s, 1930s. I think that did happen. Yeah, and yeah, the world panicked, didn't it? It was
that's right.
very scary time for them.
That's right. It was a
It's
radio.
unfortunately, yeah,
Yeah,
because coming through radio station, like you just said then, radio. But these days here, we've got videos and can do live and all sorts of stuff. So it'd be very hard to sort of fake that one. Well, it's not hard to fake it these days with the technology we've got, but
that's right.
I
Yeah.
don't know if a lot of people would believe it either. Because like, if you got live footage going on and like, oh, it's absolutely real, it's live, and everyone's all looking around, and like you can pay actors and that sort of stuff to go and do a whole
Well, that's
scenario. But
that's the biggest problem today. A lot of it now is, well, I wouldn't say a lot of it, but there's a bit of it that is faked.
yeah,
On posts and feeds and whatnot, and I mean, there's no doubt there's some genuine ones there as well, but a lot of them, unfortunately, are CGI, and yeah, but there'll definitely be, and I don't think it'll be too long before we start. And I mean, before we start getting some good footage of some of these crafts, which has already started. They're already releasing a lot of information now from NASA has released a lot.
yep,
From all the International Space Station. They've seen a hell of a lot up there, and a lot of their stories are coming out now. A lot of the astronauts now
That's right, true.
are releasing all their experiences that they were told to keep quiet about back then, and otherwise they'd be charged for treason,
Yeah.
which is sad, I mean, for 70 years we've been, it's been stifled and hidden and debunked and, which is a bit sad. But again, they're saying, I believe they believe they're doing it for our benefit, but not to panic the people. But yes, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I sort of feel if this was introduced like at an earlier time, like say like Stone Age or something like and they'll just lived around us, the whole thing wouldn't be there. It would be non-existent. We would have adapted with it, and that's
Well,
the thing I
that's
can't
right.
understand with like why the whole fear of hiding away and hiding what the truth is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they've been seeing them for thousands of years,
They
and
have.
it's even in the Bible, it's different things. Ezekiel, for instance, where he saw this, he called it a wheel within a wheel, and there's flames coming out the bottom of it, and these like angels or cherubs on the sides of the craft. And I mean, you've got another instance of Fatima back in the 1920s or 30s, I believe, where the three children witnessed the Virgin Mary, and she gave them a date when she was going to return, and they told the people, and apparently there was thousands of people there waiting, and it started to rain. The ground all started getting soggy up to their ankles, all the mud, and then all of a sudden they thought the sun was falling out of the sky, and it was like a big bright disk that came down, and within seconds, all their clothes were dry, all the ground had dried, and yeah, and apparently only the children apparently could see and hear the messages from the Virgin Mary apparently, and she told them three events that were going to happen. They released two of them, but the third one's still locked away in the Vatican, and for some reason, obviously not too good.
Yeah, damn Vatican hiding all the secrets from us.
Yes.
They use their position of power basically.
Yep.
So
Yep.
unfortunately, that's the way life is, and yeah, they've done well to hide it. They've just put a whole stigma behind the whole UFO alien genre and made everyone make fun of it,
Again,
be afraid of it.
as I was, yeah, again, as I was saying earlier, Anthony, that it'd affect everything if it was known that they were, we were being visited or they do make contact. Then, the whole religion thing. It's it can be a little bit, when you start losing faith in religion because of these, there's another race of beings that may be responsible for us being here or created us. I don't know, but it sort of throws a lot of questions out there and a lot of doubt and no good for religion. And if you don't have religion, I guess it can be a bit of a chaotic world. So
Yes,
yeah,
unfortunately so.
yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it is what the world, and guess we'll just have to live with it, and hopefully we'll see something through our lifetime anyway of something that's really
Oh,
hardcore and
yeah.
what we want to see.
Even the top boffins are saying that it's only a matter of years. They're saying within the next 5 years that we'll probably be making contact. So yeah, they're
Oh,
definitely out there. There's photos and documents coming through now that we never saw. A couple of years ago or a year ago. It was.
yeah,
You just had the little blurry images, but now they're starting to get a little bit more clearer. And as I said, now everybody's coming out. You've got the astronauts coming out. You've got uh, army personnel. You've got sergeants, majors, colonels. For instance, Rendlesham Forest. That was another biggie back in '85 in England. The American Air Force base that was visited to 2 consecutive nights, and over 80 soldiers witnessed these crafts and these entities, I suppose you'd call them. They floated out of these crafts. They were like in a bubble. They was described them, and there was an entity inside of these bubbles, and weird stuff. But as I said, there were 80 witnesses there, and yeah, they took photos and videos of it, but we haven't seen them yet. Obviously, they're locked away.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Ross there a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that Luis Elizondo's got a lot more footage, like so crystal clear, like
That's right.
you I can't
Yeah.
mistake them for anything. Like these things are.
I was actually watching his doco the interview the other night, the latest one, Ross Coulthard, and it went for a while now. I think it was about 3 hours.
Yeah,
It was
jeez.
very interesting. Some of the stuff he said he knew stuff that he just couldn't release. It just terrified people too much.
Ah, it's
And
frustrating, isn't it? Like it's like, come on, just
it's,
test us. Just give us that stuff that you know that think you're gonna
oh,
scare us. Like,
yeah.
it's not gonna
I
scare
mean,
everyone.
honestly, if they were here to harm us, I'm sure they could have done it before now. And the technology that they have, we they could probably do it. I mean, they can switch on and off. Nuclear arsenals, nuclear warheads.
Yeah,
They can turn. They can dive into volcanic things. They can, eruptions and the technology they have. If they really wanted to harm us, they would have done so. I know, I'm sure of it. So,
absolutely. Yeah, same thought as well. If they really wanted to, they could have just blitzed us right out and had the planet to themselves. So there's
no,
obviously something going on behind the works there, I feel.
no, definitely. Yeah.
No, that's awesome, mate. Look, if there's any more, mate, any experiences that you may know of or heard of
Well,
through family?
yeah, no, definitely. No, as I said, we're definitely not alone, and all the listeners out there, just keep looking up, and yep, no, they're there. You just got to be vigilant, and yeah, I don't think it'll be too long before they make themselves known. Definitely make themselves known. So,
Absolutely. Because yeah, I think a select few seem to get the special gift of being able to see these things flying over them and have the experiences there. But what about the rest of the world? We need these people to see these things for themselves.
I've only ever seen them at night. That's the only weird thing. Yeah, I suppose you don't tend to look. Well, I seem to notice more stuff at night, but I suppose they're obviously there through the day. But
Yeah.
I've got another brother too. He saw an orb. Well, two of them. He said uh, it was during the day. He was driving, and he saw this ball in the sky. It was like a silver ball. It was pretty high, and he said it was just hovering there. And then he said he saw another one came down right. Basically, it looked like it was going to crash into it, but it just hovered right above the top of it. And then the one on the top just shot straight back up again, and then this other one shot back up after it. And yeah, that was my other brother. I've got two brothers, Carl and Conrad. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. But more and more people are seeing them. That's
Absolutely.
yeah,
No, and definitely with your brother, mate, he would have been cheering, seeing something amazing like that and going, oh, geez, what is that?
yeah. But I mean, when you see them close up, I mean, that's when you really you're just in awe of the technology that these beings have.
Yeah.
It's awesome, awesome.
Oh, it's mind
Yeah,
blowing. Yeah, I've
yeah.
only seen a couple myself there at night time, same situation, but I just want one of those daytime ones, like everyone else, like seeing just see every single feature basically. That's just
Yeah,
like light and sky. Like you can sort of like get a bit of an idea. Like, is it something mistaken? Could it be a plane? Could it not be?
that's right. But
But
when we're talking 80 meters away from them, and you've got no doubt whatsoever what they are. And, well, I do now. I mean, at the time, I was 11 years old. I mean, I was a bit young, but I still knew that it wasn't from this world. And yeah, even at that age, So yeah,
oh, it would have been absolutely incredible, mate. And yeah, something a lot of people wish they had that sort of experience to go behind. And
oh,
yeah,
look, don't give up. As I said, they're there and they're watching us, and yeah, watching all our stupid actions that we're doing with the nuclear weapons.
yep.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that's absolutely awesome, mate. Is there anything else you want to add to it at all before we shut up shop?
It probably is, but I can't recall offhand. But no, I'll certainly let you know if I do come across or see anything else, and I'll try and get a photo next time. And yeah,
Yeah, no, we'll try as hard as we can, but I bet that photo you'll capture, mate, should be all blurry and distorted, and we can't make out anything with it.
yeah, that's another story too. I mean, they're saying that some of they well, people that haven't seen them, they keep saying, well, why are all the photos so blurry and distorted? And I was listening to that Ross Coulthard the other night, and he's saying that, well, they can affect electrical, all our electrical technologies and whatnot. They can stop, motors, they can stop cars, they can stop, and they can actually disrupt anything with electronics, basically. So
Yeah.
what's to say they're not doing that with the cameras and whatnot, sort of keeping us at arm's length at the moment, sort of thing, so to speak, with the photos. I don't know. But,
That's a good point too, and I don't doubt that either. But unfortunately, a lot of our pictures that come through are captured through from phones and very cheap sort of cameras in a sense, but
yeah.
they're not
Well,
designed for
even the
those sort
ones
of things.
even the ones from the International Space Station that they've been taking as well, a lot of them are blurry. I mean, they're probably doing that on purpose, I guess.
Could be too, yeah.
That's, but yes, but no, some of these astronauts have had some wicked stories they've been releasing, and yeah.
Yeah, they're on their deathbeds now, so they've got nothing to fear.
That's right. That's right. I'm glad it's all coming out. I mean, back in the day, it was a stigma. You didn't want to talk about it because they thought you're an idiot, or you're just making it up, or you were mad.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We need to get rid of that stigma, and the more people that sort of come forward with this sort of thing, they take away that stigma, and reality sets in on other people who listen to this sort of stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
So.
Right.
Mate, you played a big part on that now. You've come forward with your experiences and told people the reality that they are there. So, yeah, you helped the cause there and getting rid of the damn stigma that sits with it.
That's it. Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's good. It's good the way we're going. But it should have been a bit faster. All the release of some of this, technologies that we've been witnessing, the phenomena. So, but it's getting there. We're getting there slowly, I guess. But
Yep, very slowly, but eventually we'll get there.
Yeah.
Mate, well, look, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show, mate. It's been absolutely awesome having you, and it's some incredible experiences. Look, I hope to have something like that myself one day, something fully detailed, and yeah, I don't know about the missing time part, mate, because that'd be a bit sketchy on my, I feel anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. I've always wondered what happened, with that time. But even more so as I got older. When I was younger, I didn't sort of pay much attention to it. But then I'd heard other people having similar, instances of where there was missing time, and and under regression, and that they've relived some pretty, what would you say, scary, frightening experiences, I guess. But been taken aboard.
Yeah, just don't know what happened. It's a lot of questions that can be answered there, but we won't get those answers, unfortunately.
No.
No. Well, mate, thanks again for coming on the show, mate. Absolutely incredible having you on here. And
me, Anthony. No, that's great.
Mate, all the best, and I'll hope